Hi guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Mckenna. We're so excited that you're here on the Silhouette YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to see all of our fun tutorials that we have coming up, but let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So today's craft is this little planter. It is a fake little planter that I just picked up at the store. We obviously love this type of thing here at Silhouette. We have a lot in the background because it's a super fun, beginner-friendly project that you can just put whatever you want, a vinyl decal, on these little planters, and it makes a super great decoration for your desk at work or your kitchen or any place in your house, your little nightstand, anything. So today we are going to be doing a summer-themed design on this little plant, and I have a piece of gray vinyl, a sheet of gray vinyl that we're going to be using on this project. So let's go ahead and jump into the Silhouette software. Okay, so here in the Silhouette software, we actually don't have to change any of our settings that we're using, but you might have to change a couple of yours. So just make sure you have the correct machine selected. I'm using the Cameo. The feed type is going to stay the same. My cutting mat, I'm actually not using a cutting mat for this project at all. I'm just going to be cutting matless, and then my media size is 12 by 12. So we don't need to change any of that. But we do need to measure our design or our item to see how big we want to make our design. So I just have my little ruler right here, and I'm just going to see that my actual pot is 3 inches tall. So we just want to make it less than 3 inches tall, probably somewhere around like 2.75 inches tall. So let's go ahead and open our design in our library just to see what we're going to be working with here. So you can pick your own design, but I'm going to be using a really fun summer sun design. I feel like this is kind of like simplistic modern, so if you have like a modern vibe that you're going for, this is a really fun design, especially if your planter is kind of like modern like this one is. So I'm just going to tell you the design ID is 377574, and this is what it looks like up close. So it's really thin, which is fun with vinyl to do that, and it's just kind of like a simple little design. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click this design to open it in my software, and then for some reason it has this big box around it, so I'm just going to ungroup my design, and then it will separate all of these elements, and then I'm just going to draw a rectangle over that and delete that box. And then we're going to group all of these pieces together. So draw a rectangle over everything, and then right click and select group. And then just so you guys can see it a little bit better, we're just going to open up our fill panel right here that looks like a little artist palette. And then I'm just going to make it black. And this design actually has a couple different weird things about it going on. So we can see that it made these inside pieces full, and we don't want that, so I'm going to ungroup those pieces, and then I'm going to select it, and we got to zoom in really close to even see that red outline, but I'm just going to make it white so you guys can see it. And this is just because the artist forgot to make this all a compound path, so it's nothing that will change the actual design of our project. I just wanted you guys to be able to see the full design without being confused. So now that we did that, I'm going to draw a rectangle over everything again and then group it again. Okay, so right now our design is 3.9 inches tall, which is too tall. We said we wanted it to be around like 2.75 inches tall. So I'm just going to come up here to my toolbar along the top, and we can see we have a width and a height measurement right here, and this little padlock is locked. So that means that our aspect ratio is going to stay the same if we change the height or the width. It's not going to squish it or stretch it or anything like that. So I'm going to change our height to 2.75. And it makes it like 3 inches wide, which I think will be great. I'm just going to check that on the planter, and it looks like that will be a great size. So that is actually all we have to do in the software to prepare the design to cut. So as you can see, it's super simple. It probably seems a lot more intimidating and hard than it is because there's so many different tools you can use, but really when you just purchase the design from the design store and open it up in Studio, it's really easy to cut. So we're just going to drag this up to the corner of our area, our cutting area, and then just make sure that it's inside this red line, which is your cut border when you are cutting with your Silhouette machine. So now we're going to come up to the send panel, Alright guys, so I did change my material to vinyl glossy right here, and then I'm going to change my blade depth to a 2 instead of a 1, just because that's like my personal preference for vinyl. And now I'm just going to take my sheet of vinyl right here, which is Orical 651, that's my favorite vinyl, and I'm just going to press the little upward arrow right there and then load it in. I'm going to line up this vinyl with, there's a little gray arrow and line on the side, so just make sure you line it up with that. And then all you need to do is come down to your send panel down here in the bottom and click send. Alright guys, so I just finished cutting and now I'm just going to take my little hook tool from Silhouette, the Silhouette hook tool, and then I'm just going to try to pull out one of my little excess pieces, and it came out perfectly. It is a little bit sticky, so it's sticking to the material, but now I know that it cut good, so now I'm just going to unload it by pressing this little downward arrow right here. And then I'm just going to take these scissors right here and just cut a little rectangle around my design that I cut, and then I'll save the rest for next time. And that is all we have to do to cut. So we're going to go ahead and put our Silhouette machine away, and then also we can close our computer because that's all we need to do for our cutting. So now we're just going to do the fun part of putting the design on this fun planter. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull this off to the side. But as you can see, when you get a good cut, and especially when you're using a good quality vinyl, it comes off really, really easily. Last time I did a vinyl project, you can go back and look at it here on our channel, but I was actually doing it with my nephew, Hudson, and we made some cute little lanterns, and I let him do the weeding, and it pulled off super, super nicely. Sometimes vinyl will like stick in places we don't want it to stick and things like that, so that's why I recommend just using a good vinyl, because if you do that, you'll be able to just stick it super nicely and weed it nicely. So in order to put this vinyl decal on this planter right here, we need to use some transfer tape. And transfer tape is just really, really kind of a light tack tape that we're going to be using. And we do want to make sure it's big enough for our piece. So this is a little bit too short, so I'm just going to cut a little tiny piece just to make it even. And we're just going to first put the extra piece on the top of this one, because you do want your transfer tape to cover your whole design. And I'm just going to line this up, overlap it a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and just line this up with our design. And I'm going to take this little Silhouette scraper tool right here and use it to get all of the bubbles out. And now we're just going to peel back this transfer tape. And sometimes if your transfer tape, if your design is still sticking to the backing, I just like to kind of crease it as I go. And that just makes it so that I can pull it off and not have it stick. So this is what it looks like after you put it on the transfer tape. I think it's so fun how it's just like a little floating design. So I'm just going to turn this over and put it on the front. So we are just going to, I kind of want to keep this from rolling. There we go, got some scissors there. And I'm just going to center this. I just always visually center. You can measure it to center it if you want. But this is just a super minimal design. So I did use the dark gray, which it's kind of a little bit more tone on tone for this project. So if you want it to show up a little bit more, I would just recommend using like a white or something like that. But as you go, just go ahead and press it down. And this is the final product. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the stuff up around me. And this is what it looks like in the end. So if it's pulling up a little bit, just go ahead and kind of press around it with your fingers. But I just wanted to do a fun, minimal summer project. And that's what this is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to tune in every Friday for a new silhouette tutorial so that you can learn how to make super fun crafts with your silhouette machine. And we'll see you next time.